At 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. We have alert day conditions today, but first we begin with breaking news.
The man accused of stabbing another man to death in Fitchburg earlier this month is officially charged. Rodney Golden is charged with 1 count of first-degree homicide. His bond is set at $1 million. On the morning of May 6th, Rodney allegedly stabbed 39-year-old Myron Dunlap outside of Monkey Shine's Bar and Grill on McKee Road. Dunlap was taken to the hospital where he died. Golden is due back in court on June 30th.
And let's get a look at our first warn forecast. A rainy and chilly Tuesday today. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Jacob?
Yeah, and rain continues across our area. A little bit more broken up compared to earlier, but we're still expecting to see rain for about the next 24 hours at least. Taking a look at the current radar, right now the heaviest rain is a little bit just to the east of Madison and also to the southwest of Madison, where we are seeing some of the heavier rainfall move into the region. Zooming in on some of these locations, just to the east again, impacting Jefferson County as well as Dodge County, you can see some of that heavier precipitation. Also in southwestern Wisconsin, you can see some heavy precipitation right now in northern Illinois push into the southwestern portion of the state. So alert day conditions are going to continue for the heavy rain and strong winds through the overnight hours. Although we're expecting rain on Wednesday, we're not going to see the winds and the rain will be pretty light, so we're not really expecting alert day conditions for that time frame, but we still are going to see some scattered showers for most of the day. Now we may get a little bit of a break at times, but for the most part, pretty much at least parts of the area will be seeing rain continue throughout the day tomorrow. So I'll continue tracking the forecast on that and showing you the forecast for this upcoming Memorial Day weekend coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. This afternoon, we're waiting for an update on a deadly incident yesterday at UW-Platteville.
University police tell us it will release a joint statement with the Department of Criminal Investigation that will include preliminary investigative details. As for what we know right now, 2 students are dead, 22-year-old Kelsey Martin and 22-year-old Hallie Helms. The incident happened at a residence hall on campus. Police say the incident was isolated. Finals have been canceled as students process their grief.
Still a bit in shock. I'm a bit numb. I'm sure it's going to come crashing down on me in a couple of days, but I've been just kind of keeping to myself a bit. I kind of stayed in my room the entire time yesterday.
Later on Live at 4, Armand Rahman brings us more from students live from UW-Platteville's campus.
The search for a missing boater in Lake Monona has been suspended for the day because of the weather. On Friday, a sailboat tied to a kayak turned over in the middle of Lake Monona. 1 person drifted to shore on the boat while 3 others stayed in the kayak. 2 of those people were rescued, but the 3rd, who was not wearing a life jacket, went missing. Crews began searching at about 8 o'clock that night for the missing boater in what we're told now is a recovery mission. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says the search will continue tomorrow or Thursday, depending on the weather.
At least 10 tornadoes touched down in Wisconsin last Thursday, and 2 of those hit the community of Juneau.
Our Merrill Hubbard brings us there to see how one retirement center is recovering from the storm's damage.
The north end of Juneau took a big hit from last week's tornadoes, and here at Clearview Retirement Center, the recovery effort is ongoing. You can see there's still debris that needs to be picked up, and I'm told that over 50 windows in the facility need repairs. Clearview provides care for seniors living with disabilities, chronic behavioral health conditions, traumatic brain injuries, and more. But on Thursday, this facility, home to about 160 seniors, was shaken by a powerful storm. Ed Summers, the executive director of the Clearview campus, says shattered glass forced them to move many residents from their rooms for safety. And during the tornado, he says one of the caregivers' quick thinking made all the difference for a few residents.
She rescued the 3 residents in the group home. She got them down to the basement just as the roof was being torn off of the facility. I mean, she literally saved lives.
Summers says that particular group home won't be usable for another 3 to 6 months, and that their team is still working to recover the garage and several staff vehicles that were damaged. Reporting in Juneau, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Nurses at Unity Point Health Meriter and Madison will go on strike in 1 week. A spokesperson for SEIU Wisconsin says Meriter has not made the changes needed to secure a new contract. The union gave the hospital a 10-day notice earlier this month that almost 1,000 nurses will be joining the strike. A statement from SEIU reads in part, "Nurses have been clear with Meriter management that we will strike for patient and staff safety, improved compensation to retain nurses, and staffing solutions that include the voices of bedside nurses. Meriter is still not listening to nurses."
We've also received a statement from Meriter. The hospital released a statement to us earlier from its marketing chief nursing officer.
We will be bringing in nurses that will get oriented to our policies, our protocols. They are nurses that move across the United States and are highly skilled and highly qualified. So we will be bringing in nurses, and then our other team members will continue to provide the care that they do. So we are ready.
Meriter says the next scheduled bargaining date the union has agreed to is Monday, May 26th, but that Meriter leadership says it will remain available throughout the week to negotiate.
When you think of film and TV production, you probably think of places like California, New York, whatnot, but there is a push for Wisconsin to get on that list.
Today, the Senate Committee on Utilities and Tourism held a public hearing on a bill that gives a tax incentive for film and TV production. Our Ellie LaLiberte heads to Beloit to show us what people in the industry say it would mean for their business.
Wisconsin is just one of 13 states that don't offer a tax incentive for film and TV production, which is why industry leaders say they're ready for a change. The Senate bill in part proposes a 30% tax credit on certain costs and an annual fund of about $10 million. Nancy Clark Mather owns Beloit Filmworks, a film location company. She says there are a lot of benefits for incentivizing production in Wisconsin.
We don't have the obstacles that you would encounter going into Chicago. We don't have the traffic, we don't have the permit requirements, we don't have the hassle of all the pedestrians. It's much easier to work in Beloit.
Surrounding states like Indiana, Minnesota, and Illinois each have an incentive. In 2021, Illinois generated more than $370 million in wages from TV and film production. And tonight at 5, hear what this incentive would mean for local communities. Reporting in Beloit, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. This is not the first time this legislation has been introduced. A similar bill failed last legislative session.
Well, last week, the city of Fitchburg passed a resolution adopting Vision Zero.
Vision Zero is a traffic safety plan already adopted by multiple cities in the area that aims at reaching zero traffic deaths or serious injuries. Our Jalen Banks caught up with the city of Fitchburg and joins us with more.
Tuesday, May 13th. The city of Fitchburg passed a resolution adopting Vision Zero, a concept that aims to eliminate all traffic deaths and serious injuries on city streets. Now the city will move forward and develop a safety action plan detailing intersections, streets, and paths they deem dangerous and fixable.
Street overhauls usually involve some sort of safety improvements already. Vision Zero will obviously guide those going forward. Being endorsed by our council will add some force behind getting funding for those infrastructure improvements, because that's always the barrier, is the cost of actually installing these things.
For now, reporting in Fitchburg, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. The safety action plan is scheduled to be completed at the end of next year. We'll hear more from the city of Fitchburg tonight at 5.
Millions of Americans will see major changes to their Social Security benefits. The changes affect about 2.8 million retired teachers, firefighters, police, and some federal workers who receive a public pension that didn't withhold Social Security tax. Here's what you should know.
It's not every single one of them, but these folks could see increases of what they say is maybe a few dollars a month to up to $1,000 a month in a benefit change. So this is a real game changer for a lot of those folks who did not actually pay into the Social Security system. Just to know, you don't have to do anything. The government will actually inform you, and you might even just see it in your check coming through.
For retirees who have been getting back more money from the Social Security system in overpayments, the Trump administration will now withhold 50% of their benefits until that money is repaid. Anyone who needs to know more should go to ssa.gov, and that's where most of the information you need is living.
Next on Live at 4, whether the president's big, beautiful bill is progressing in the House.
And how many inmates are still at large after escaping a New Orleans prison. Out Republicans to support his tax cut and spending bill.
But the more than 1,000 pages of legislation has left conservatives and moderates divided. The legislation makes permanent the tax cuts passed during his first term and eliminates taxes on tips and overtime pay. It also increases spending on defense and border security. To offset those costs, there are federal spending cuts to Medicaid, food stamps, and clean energy subsidies, although the president insists Medicaid will remain mostly intact. The president warned Republicans against opposing the legislation, but his visit failed to sway several holdouts.
The only thing we're cutting is waste, fraud, and abuse. With Medicaid, waste, fraud, and abuse.
Did you change your mind?
Yeah. No.
House Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledged the hurdles ahead with the GOP's slim majority. He says he wants a vote by Thursday before lawmakers depart for their Memorial Day break.
Senators are eyeing an opportunity to put pressure on Russia to end the war in Ukraine. This comes after yesterday's call between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump says Russia and Ukraine agreed to immediately start negotiations for a ceasefire, but Putin says he still wants major concessions from Ukraine. And now lawmakers in Congress are considering more sanctions on Russia to bring Putin to the table. While testifying on Capitol Hill today, lawmakers asked the Secretary of State his thoughts on that proposal.
Look, it may come to that point. If in fact it is clear that the Russians are not interested in a peace deal and they just want to keep fighting a war, it may very well come to that point. The president has made that in the past. Our belief, the president's belief, is he believes that right now if you start threatening sanctions, the Russians will stop talking. And there's value in us being able to talk to them and drive them to get to the table.
After Monday's call, both Ukraine and Russia accused each other of launching drones on one another overnight.
The United Kingdom has suspended trade talks with Israel after the country renewed its military offensive in Gaza. Video here shows tanks moving into the Gaza Strip today. Also today, Israel's military launched strikes that killed at least 50 Palestinians in Gaza. This after the military warned people in southern Gaza yesterday to evacuate the coast in preparation for a, quote, unprecedented attack. In response to the threats to Gaza, the UK, Canada, and France say they're coordinating a targeted plan threatening Israel with sanctions.
I want to put on record today that we're horrified by the escalation from Israel. We repeat our demand for a ceasefire as the only way to free the hostages. We repeat our opposition to settlements in the West Bank. And we repeat our demand to massively scale up humanitarian assistance into Gaza.
Israel has said it will allow a basic amount of food to enter the Gaza Strip, something the United Kingdom's Prime Minister also says is, quote, utterly inadequate.
6 escaped inmates are still at large in New Orleans, bringing the statewide manhunt into its 5th day. Louisiana State Police have been able to arrest 4 of the 10 inmates who escaped Friday morning. A maintenance worker at the jail has been arrested for helping the inmates escape. 33-year-old Sterling Williams allegedly turned the water off in the cell that was used for the escape, which involved removing a toilet from the wall. He says the inmates threatened to shank him if he didn't help. Let's get another look at our first warn forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano. I hope you had your umbrella today.
Yeah, definitely. And I also had my jacket, unfortunately. Yesterday, I kind of refused to bring it, but I definitely needed it today. Now, we're still seeing some of that rain out there, and we're also seeing some pockets of heavier rain move back into southwestern Wisconsin with some lightning strikes along with it. Now, looking at the amount of rain that we've seen already, a lot of the area has seen about a ½ inch to a full inch at least. Some areas up around 1.5 to 2 inches already. already. Now, this is all radar estimated. It is possible we saw a little bit less or a little bit more, but it really goes to show you that we have seen plenty of rainfall already, and there's still plenty of rainfall to come. So looking at the rainfall forecast, we're going to continue to see some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms throughout the evening and into the overnight hours. Now, unlike this morning, we're likely going to see the rain kind of on and off throughout the night and into Wednesday, but at least parts of the area should see rain at any given time tonight and into Wednesday. So as we get into the day on Wednesday, still seeing some of that rain across the area, and that's going to continue into the afternoon hours as well. Again, it will be a lot more broken up tomorrow, but we still could see some rain as late as early Wednesday night. It does look like once we get to Thursday, we'll finally see that rain clear out. I should say Thursday after sunrise. Might see some rain very early Thursday between around midnight to 4 a.m. But during the day on Thursday, we are expecting dry conditions, cloudy skies, though, for much of the day. Now, the amount of rainfall that's expected going forward, this is on top of the rain we've already seen. We still could see about a ½ inch to a full inch, especially for areas north of Madison. Now, areas north have seen the least amount of rain so far, but you folks may see the most amount of rainfall going forward. Now, as far as the wind goes, it's going to remain breezy throughout the evening and into the overnight hours. Gusts will continue to be up around 25 to 30 miles per hour, but the good news is that by Wednesday, we will see the winds calm down a lot, despite the fact that we'll still see that rainfall. Now, the good news also is that we're not going to see much rain for the rest of the week, but once we get to Sunday and Memorial Day early next week, we do have a small chance of rain, but right now, nothing looks too confident, and we certainly are not expecting anything like what we're seeing right now. But we are going to continue to see below normal temperatures through Memorial Day, but they certainly are going to be better. The highs today have only been in the upper 40s to lower 50s. We will be back in the 60s this weekend. And then next week, we're going to be back in the 70s, possibly close to 80 by next Friday. So there are some warmer days ahead, but at least for the next 7 days, it looks like we will be below normal, where the normal high is supposed to be in the lower 70s. So overall, pretty good Memorial Day weekend. Obviously not super warm, but it's definitely better than what we're seeing today and what we will see tomorrow. And then those warmer temperatures will return for the middle and end of next week.
Thank you, Jacob. And yeah, it doesn't feel like it today, but don't worry, summer is nearly here.
It doesn't matter that it's pouring rain. We are grilling burgers inside. And Angie Horkin from the Wisconsin Beef Council will share some great burger recipes with us when we come back. Nothing says summer like burgers on the grill or in the cast iron skillet.
Yeah, as we know, the weather is not really cooperating today, but that doesn't stop Angie Horkin from making something delicious inside. Hi.
Hi, Angie.
Hello. It's May, Beef Month, National Burger Month. I love starting out kind of summer grilling with burgers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to make them in the skillet.
That's okay. Fine. It smells wonderful.
I make them all winter in the skillet because honestly, I'm a fair weather griller.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and it works. You have a nice, like, little brown on there, nice crisp. So
now, what is the best ground beef for burgers?
So I like using, like in the cast iron skillet, I'll do an 85-15. So that's what I have here today.
Okay.
So probably just labeled a ground beef or ground chuck. Now outside on a real grill, you're going to lose a lot of your juices. So don't be scared to use like 80-20.
Okay.
So really, it's those more economical ground beefs because grilling is a low-fat cooking method because you lose your fat through the grill grates. Now, if you do use a higher fat content beef, just watch for flare-ups on the grills.
Okay.
So keep an eye on that. But yeah, I got a nice 85-15 here. I got quarter-pound patties because I bought a pound of beef. So 2 different recipes, kind of fun. So these are called an Old South burger with peach compote. And we're starting with biscuits. So
that's a good idea.
I made a tube of 8 biscuits so you can make like 2 pounds of ground beef, make 8 burgers. But yeah, those are just the buttermilk. Do them in the oven just like the instructions say. And then peach compote. So in a separate small skillet, I reduced like a little bit of beer. It calls for a cup of beer. And peaches, I use the jarred peaches because they're not really in season yet.
Easy peasy.
And some sweet onion. And then a little fresh rosemary.
Oh, that sounds really good. So you have kind of like
good.
a savory, sweet component there.
And then we're going to add a little kind of tangy component. So I've got goat cheese.
Which can be controversial to some people.
Oh, yeah?
Not me, though. I love it.
I love it, too.
I like it, too. It is an acquired taste. It took me a little bit of time. It didn't soften very well, but I'm just going to put a little on top on the biscuit. But the flavors here, you got a lot of flavors going on, but not a lot of ingredients. Make your compote ahead of time, maybe if you want to make that and entertain so you're not stuck in the kitchen.
All right.
Second recipe, mushroom and Swiss burger with a homemade jalapeno aioli. So I started with a brioche bun. I've just got some nice lettuce, a tomato. I'm gonna do the burger. I sauteed up some baby bellas or creminis.
Those look good.
Then I forgot the Swiss.
That's okay.
Put the Swiss on next. Or like Brady said, you could definitely use the goat cheese.
I would use the goat cheese.
Yeah, you can just pivot, right?
You can put it on pizza, you can have it on sandwiches, wraps. It goes with anything.
And then the mushrooms, and then this is a jalapeno aioli. So I took 2 jalapenos, and this does call to make it on the grill, but it called to grill 2 jalapenos, but I did them in the cast iron skillet right before I did my burgers. I kind of charred them, and then cut them in half, seasoned them, and chopped them up, and I think it's gonna be really good. And then there's just some light mayo, a little bit like a squeezed half of a lime, and then a little salt.
Give you a little zip.
Exactly. Then also with this recipe, there's grilled zucchini to go on the side. So zucchini fries if you like something like that.
Oh, that's a perfect
Or try them in the
Smells
oven.
amazing. Yeah, and you can make burgers for any occasion, maybe even a birthday.
You could.
Someone has a birthday coming up, I hear.
A milestone birthday on Thursday.
Happy birthday, Angie.
Thank you.
Oh, it's
Thank
very
you.
exciting. You're going to do anything special? Not the cooking, we hope.
Nothing too extensive. I mean, I'm turning 50. I gotta be careful. I'm getting old.
No.
Nobody would guess that.
Aging backward.
We should have had you guess. I bet everybody would have said 30.
We're hoping to golf. It's our ladies' league.
Oh,
in
great.
Reedsburg, but hopefully the weather's okay.
Yeah.
Have a great day, and thank you for being on with us today.
Oh, and remind everybody where all the
Yeah.
recipes are.
Beefdips.com, right on the homepage, click on As Seen on TV. You'll find these recipes, plus I've got a lot of other fun, great ones for National Burger Month.
Happy birthday, Angie. Thank you so much. Coming up on Live at 4, News 3 Now speaks with the first judge to formally challenge state Supreme Court incumbent Rebecca Bradley.
And what students are saying about the deadly incident in Platteville.
News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
I'd say,
yeah, go ahead.
There we go. We see Juneau there still recovering from those storms on Thursday. We continue to follow them as they recover, but we've seen a lot of rain over here.
Good soaking rain today, and we need it, but it's also quite chilly today. And there's more rain on the way. Jacob is here with the latest on the forecast.
Yeah, although we do have an alert day today, it hasn't been all bad news considering we have seen some drought conditions form in southern Wisconsin, and this rain is certainly going to help with that. But we're going to continue to see that rain for at least another 24 hours or so. Let's take a look at the current radar, and we can see that although some areas are dry, there is still other areas seeing quite a bit of rainfall, and there actually is some heavy precipitation right now in southwestern Wisconsin kind of moving in, along with a few lightning strikes. So there are a few thunderstorms out there, and there may be continue to be a few thunderstorms during the evening and early overnight hours. So as we take a look at future track, again, we're not going to see widespread consistent rain, but we'll see on and off showers for a lot of the area. That's going to continue throughout the night, especially for areas north of Madison. And as we get into Wednesday, that is going to continue as the rain may last throughout the entire day, although it will be a lot lighter. Now, on top of the rainfall, it also has been very windy and chilly. Right now, we're seeing wind speeds still up around 15 to 20 miles per hour. The good news is that by the time we get to Wednesday, we aren't going to be as windy, although we will still be rainy and cool. But we'll continue to see the windy conditions tonight. They're going to calm down by Wednesday, and then by the time we get to Wednesday night, the winds are going to be even calmer. So overall, we still are going to see that rain again through about this time tomorrow at least, but it is going to be a lot drier for the end of the week, and temperatures will eventually warm up, and they'll eventually get above the normal level by the end of the 10-day forecast. I'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. We're learning more today about the 2 girls UW Platteville officials say died in a residence hall on campus there yesterday.
We still have not received more information other than what investigators are calling an isolated incident between the 2 that led to their deaths, a shelter-in-place order, and the evacuation of that dorm, Wilgus Hall. And that's where we find Armand Rahman. He's out there now with the latest. Armand?
Brady and Susan, it is a lot more of a somber day here on the UW Platteville campus. Take a look. I have seen more students coming and laying these flowers here at the sign for the Wilgus Residence Hall where that isolated incident took place yesterday. And today those students are telling me they're just starting to process all that happened yesterday and all that they still do not know. But what we do know, however, is that 2 22-year-old students, Kelsey Martin of Beloit and Hallie Helms of Baraboo, both died yesterday. They both had just graduated last weekend Helms with a degree in early education, and Martin with a degree in psychology. She was also an assistant resident director at the university, writing on her LinkedIn that, among other duties, she would respond to emergencies in her hall, including mental health and policy violations. Alexander Cleaver and Andrew Himmelman had known Martin since before attending Platteville and were shocked to hear what happened.
Kelsey was super nice. I knew her in high school. We were in clubs together. Super good person. So it's, horrible of anyone. It never should have been anyone.
Yeah. Now again, we do not know anything about what happened between the two women that led to their deaths. The university not revealing yet whether even a weapon was involved at all, though multiple students who were in the dorm and around the dorm had said they either heard a gunshot, smelled gunpowder, or heard from other students that a gun was involved. Now, university leaders say they expect campus police and the State Department of Criminal Investigation to release a joint statement later today with hopefully some more details on their investigation. However, campus leaders could not tell me what time that statement will happen. Coming up at 5, those students who I talked to say they understand the investigation is still active, but not sharing information with the community can sometimes do more harm than good. For now, reporting live on the UW Platteville campus, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
A lot of questions remain in this very sad story. We'll see you at 5, Armand. Thank you. We are 10 months out from the next election here in Wisconsin.
But already we are seeing candidates take the stage to run. Political reporter Will Keneally is here to show us. Will?
All right, well, stop me if you've heard this before. This will be an election for Wisconsin's crucial state Supreme Court. Now, this is the court that will determine abortion policy in Wisconsin, potentially redraw new congressional districts in a gerrymandering case, among many other groundbreaking policies in Wisconsin. Now, entering the race today is Chris Taylor. Now, she's a familiar face among Madison voters as she represented the downtown area in the state assembly. Now, since then, she's served as a county judge in Dane County, then moving to the state's appellate court. Now, we asked her today about her run.
I believe as a judge that one of my focuses is to make sure the judiciary is accountable, is accessible, and is as fair as possible to every Wisconsinite. Those are the kinds of commitments and those are the values that I bring to the state Supreme Court.
Now, Taylor here is taking on incumbent Justice Rebecca Bradley. Now, that will be next April. Bradley's one of the kind of bedrock conservatives on the court. Now, she told reporters last month, though, that she does plan to seek another 10-year term.
And what do you think we can expect for this race next year?
So I think this will be a fascinating I think we are likely to see the candidates set. I don't know that we'll see another liberal. I could be wrong. But I don't think we'll see another liberal jump in aside from Chris Taylor. So I think we're setting the scene for a really interesting fight. We have a very strong liberal candidate and a very strong conservative candidate so far right now. We heard Chris Taylor there talk a lot about the values. That seemed very reminiscent to me from 2 years ago when we had Janet Protasewicz take the bench there, talking a lot about the values that she'd bring to the bench. We saw a little bit of a different story among these liberal candidates with Susan Crawford last year, but we could kind of see that play into this, certainly.
It feels like a little deja vu.
A little bit.
Do you think we're going to see the same kind of unbelievable spending we saw in the last 2 races?
Oh, hands down. I don't know that we'll see figures like Elon Musk make as much of an appearance. I mean, I don't know what national politics, especially Musk's role in that, will look like next April. But we might not see his presence, but without a doubt, we will break records yet again.
Okay, Wisconsin in the spotlight. Here we go.
Here we go again.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will.
To Wall Street, the Dow dropped 115 today. The Nasdaq is down 73 points, and the S&P 500 is down 23. An updated ordinance on cruising the streets of Janesville is now being enforced.
Our Kyle Pozorski interviewed a Janesville police sergeant who says Milton Avenue will now be a safer place for everyone in the region.
So as we're looking out over Milton Ave in Janesville, obviously, explain to me in the simplest way, what is cruising?
Cruising is where a motor vehicle drives past a traffic control point within the designated area more than 2 times between the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m.
And has cruising been an issue in Janesville?
Cruising has been an issue in Janesville for several years. It started downtown. They created the ordinance to cover that area, that designated area. However, everyone has moved up here. I've been here for 12 years, and it's been an issue for my entire career, and talking to some of the people that have been here longer, it was an issue prior to my time.
Explain, how are you guys actually going to be enforcing this?
So for right now, it's going to be officer witnessed. Basically, an officer would pick again, a control point along the designated area, and it's very easy to pick out the vehicles that are driving. There's other ways that we're thinking in the future. They're just not here yet, of how we may be able to enforce it, but right now it's going to be officer witnessed.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That was Kyle Pozorski reporting. The updated ordinance also now allows police to impound or tow any cars that are not registered, as well as vehicles that are used by reckless drivers. Well, coming up on Live at 4, former President Biden's cancer diagnosis raises questions for older men about prostate cancer.
Plus, new rules on COVID vaccines from the FDA, what they could mean for you. Shots for healthy younger adults and children will no longer be routinely approved. It's a major new policy unveiled today by the Trump administration.
Also, more men are being diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer. The issue is in the spotlight, of course, following President Biden's diagnosis with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. So lots to talk about today with UW Health, Dr. Jeff Potoff. Hi,
Hello.
Dr.
Hey, guys.
Potoff. Good to see you.
Same here.
So can you explain why the Trump administration is making this change? It's a little confusing.
Well, I think it might be confusing for a lot of folks. What the Trump administration is saying is that for our annual COVID-19 vaccine, so back in 2020, these vaccines did go through what they're recommending, randomized controlled trials. Do they work? What are the side effects? Every year, we usually tweak the vaccine to cover the most current strain. And then as long as there's antibodies that are produced that we can measure and say, hey, this vaccine looks good, that's FDA approved. The change is every year for the tweak that they make, they're requiring the drug manufacturers to do randomized controlled trials, monitor people for 6 months, and then only after that data is available would they approve the vaccine for healthy kids or healthy adults. The problem with seasonal diseases like this is the vaccine likely would not be approved until April, May, when respiratory season is over. So it's likely that if these guidelines stay, we won't have a COVID-19 vaccine for healthy adults and children in the fall of 2025.
So with those guidelines in mind, so then, yeah, what if you want one but you don't fall into that high-risk category?
Well, one, if it's not FDA approved for you, you may not be able to get it. Also, if it's not FDA approved, insurance companies will likely not cover that vaccine. So even if it is available to you, you'd be paying full price out of pocket.
Now, is this a decision that has been made, or they're still debating it, or this is in effect now?
I think that's a good question. I mean, it just came out today. I think we'll have to learn more from the administration with regards to what exactly do they mean? What would that look like? What are the implications for folks that may be interested in getting vaccinated against COVID-19?
And the other topic, you know, former President Biden recently announced he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And this is kind of, I think, bringing the attention to it here among people who have it. He is older, and sometimes the recommendation to get those tests stops at a certain age. So do we need to reevaluate how old you are when you get screened?
Yeah, I think the United States Preventative Task Force actually looks at all the evidence, and that's how they build these recommendations. So as it pertains specifically to prostate cancer screening, which is prostate-specific antigen, a blood test that you get, they look at the pros and cons. And I think it's really easy to just think that the more testing we do, the better off we are, the safer it has to be. Turns out that that's not true, because lots of times, especially with PSA, as you get older, you can get a high level of false positives. So the PSA is positive, you don't have cancer. But what happens is when the PSA is positive, we do things to you that have risk. We do biopsies or maybe other things that might actually be more harmful than if we did nothing. So right now, the way the recommendation is that at age 70, the U.S. Preventative Task Force says we probably shouldn't be doing PSA tests after the age of 70. I think the question that doesn't have a good answer is, if you're the president, is that different than all the rest of us?
And an aggressive form of prostate cancer is more common, is what they're seeing more commonly. What does that mean?
Yeah, so when we think of like how aggressive a cancer is, I think everyone's heard this Gleason score 9. That really kind of describes how undifferentiated or how dissimilar from normal prostate cells the cancer cells look. And the more dissimilar they are, usually the more aggressive they are, the quicker they reproduce, the quicker they can spread. That's where cancer can be aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for being on with us to talk about these two topics.
You bet. Thanks.
Good to see you, Dr. Potoff.
Well, coming up next on Live at 4, we know Dolly Parton doesn't just work 9 to 5, more like 24/7.
We'll show you her latest endeavor that's keeping her very busy and how you...
Well, I guess this is a live look at AmFam Field.
Wow.
If you can make it out there. Yeah, the Brewers will host the Orioles later tonight, and you can watch on television Wisconsin. That first pitch is at 6:40.
Boy, Jacob, that picture says it all.
I think the dome will be closed today,
I think you're right.
If I had to take a guess.
idea.
Let's take a look at the temperatures right now. Now, these are normally when we see the high temperature of the day, and the average high is 70. And we're in the middle to upper 40s right now. The high for today has been 50, which is close to the average low temperature that we see this time of the year. So very unseasonably cool temperatures, and it's going to be cool again tomorrow, but temperatures will eventually warm back up to at least the 60s by the weekend. Now, looking at the current radar, still seeing plenty of rainfall, and we are seeing some of that heavier rain continue to push into more of Wisconsin with a few lightning strikes along with it. So there are a few isolated thunderstorms out there, and we're going to continue to see these scattered showers throughout the night and all of tomorrow. The good news is that we're going to continue to not see any severe weather, and the winds are also going to calm down throughout the night. And for Wednesday, we're not going to be as windy, but as I mentioned, we're still going to see that rainfall, especially for areas north of Madison. Rain should be a little bit lighter tomorrow compared to what we've seen today, but we still may see rain throughout much of the day into the evening hours, finally starting to clear up by Wednesday night. And although we still may see some light sprinkles into the early morning hours Thursday, once we get to sunrise Thursday, we should be dry from there going forward. But the amount of rainfall still to come could be as much as a ½ inch to a full inch for areas north of Madison. Only going to see about a ¼ inch to a ½ inch for Madison and areas to the south, but still going to see some light sprinkles possible for a good chunk of the day tomorrow. So although it will be ever so slightly better, it's still not going to be very pleasant out there. Now again, it's not going to be as windy, but it's still going to be chilly. Now for Thursday, that's when the temperatures will begin warming up, but they're still going to be below normal for the rest of this week into the weekend, finally warming up into the lower 70s by the middle of next week. And like I mentioned, the lower 70s is where we're supposed to be for this time of the year. As far as rainfall goes, not going to see much for the rest of the week after it clears out Wednesday night. Could see some light rain Sunday and Monday next week. And I also want to point out Thursday night temperatures could drop into the 30s, which could create some minor frost out there.
Out more Dolly Parton. Who isn't, right? Yeah. Listen up. There is a new exhibit all about her past.
This story's for me, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The country music legend is celebrating the Country Music Hall of Fame's new exhibit that honors her. Dolly Parton, Journey of a Seeker, displays her clothing, instruments, photos, and handwritten lyrics. The showcase debuted today and is open through September 2026.
You have my permission to take a few days off and to drive to go check this out.
I'll get you a souvenir.
Oh, please do.
We'll be right back.
Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. We'll talk about how federal funding cuts could impact America's recovery from the opioid epidemic. And straight ahead tonight at 5, how President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill is moving through the House and how it could affect you. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today, everybody. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.